Good morning, beloveds. We're supposed to see the sun today. I'm not sure if we will. Uh, I don't know. I was kind of happy because I didn't have to wear my sunglasses this morning. So we got up. Normally Friday is my day of rest, but it was storming on Sunday, so we ended up not going to the gym because it was dark and we didn't want to drive through that. We got the bike ride in on Monday, got the walk in on Tuesday. It was raining Wednesday. He turned my alarm off and I never even woke up. Thursday, I woke up when my alarm went off, but he turned the alarm off and he said it's raining, so I went back to sleep. Today, we got up and it wasn't raining, and so we went for a walk. It's like, I've already missed 3 days of exercise this week. I should probably, yeah. So we got up, went for a walk. It's cold. And tomorrow, even though the sun's going to come up today and it's going to get a little warmer, because like on Wednesday, I don't think it ever got out of the 30s. Like it was supposed to get 40 and I don't think it ever did. And then yesterday, it may have gotten to like 42 and that's it. And today it's supposed to get into the 50s, but it's going to drop even back into the low 30s again tonight. So when we go to the park in the morning, there will be sunshine, but it'll be in the 30s. So Tom's not thrilled, but we're going to go anyway. At least I will. There are squirrels, and we missed last week. So, because again, it was raining. It was raining. All right. It is February 3rd. Our title is No Failures. The first quote is, "To them that is joined to all the living there is hope." And that is Ecclesiastes 9:4. And then the second quote is, "We learned that persistent, constructive thought is the greatest power known and the most effective." And that is from The Science of Mind, page 483. A woman was devastated because she hadn't been offered the job she wanted. It seemed so perfect, but though she was well qualified for the job was given to another person. Feelings of doubt, failure, and fear dominated her thinking. She felt stuck, unlucky, and not good enough. What had she done to deserve this? She prayed to recognize that Spirit worked through her as her. She also recognized that since Spirit is perfect, it could not fail, and therefore she, being Spirit, could not fail. As she changed her thinking about herself and her situation, her life changed, and her hopes and dreams were reestablished. Shortly, she found a much more satisfying and rewarding job. The truth is that there is no failure, only a lesson to learn. At first, we may tend to disagree with this idea, but when enough time has passed, we will see beyond the appearances of failure and recognize that a greater good has come to us, even though that good may be different than our mental picture of what it should have been. We must always be willing to change our goals to accept something better, for once we accept what the universe provides, even more good comes our way. I know that God is my source. I am divinely guided towards success, happiness, and fulfillment. I trust that any appearance of failure is an opportunity for new direction, new choices, and new adventures. I accept change as perfect. Out of every appearance, I produce success, harmony, and happiness. And that is MM. That's Marilyn Mooney. Okay, I have many thoughts, and I'm not sure if I'm going to get them all coherent. First off, I agree. The only failure is when you fail to learn something. Look at science. The most amazing things come out of spectacular failures. And because that's the way it is. It's like, all right, I'm going to test this theory. Oh, I am completely wrong. But I have now learned much amazing information, which I can use to direct the next, venture. And that really is the whole premise of science. It's like, okay, we're going to go test this. And if it fails spectacularly, that's okay, because we're learning a lot of stuff. All right. It's not a failure. And so that really is kind of my attitude when it comes to that kind of stuff. It's like the only time we truly fail is when we fail to learn something. So I'm fully on board with that. Now, when it comes to the woman didn't get the job that she wanted. And so what she did was she went back and she evaluated, and she probably did beat herself up a little bit, which it would be helpful if we would not do that, but we're human, having, spiritual beings having a human experience. And so we do. But what she did was she said, okay, she reevaluated, and then she realigned, and she said, well, I'm spirit, and spirit is working through me. Therefore, spirit can't fail. Therefore, I can't fail. Therefore, she opened herself up. She changed her thinking. That's why we talk about changing our thinking, changing our lives. Okay. And she did it in a healthy way. And maybe she did it by herself, or maybe she went to a practitioner or a therapist, or even just a good friend and talked about this and came to the conclusion, hey, you know what? I'm spirit. My concern is right there is that we can also use that as a spiritual bypass. And so when we don't get the job that we wanted, then we say, okay, well, then spirit's holding out something better for me. That's great. But sometimes we'll say that and then we won't do anything about it. We won't do the work that she did. We'll just say, well, spirit's going to bring me something better. And we don't make the changes that we need. So we talk about treat and move your feet, and that's part of it. So we didn't get the job that we wanted, and then we go, okay, spirit's got something better in mind for me. And then we work to align with that. If we just say spirit's got something better for me, and we don't work to change our alignment, then that becomes a spiritual bypass, where we're not doing the work that we can do. I don't want to say should, that we can do to align with the good that spirit can bring us. So there's that. And then there was one other point that I really wanted to kind of emphasize. Let me see what it is. Oh, okay. Learning the lesson. Which is, I think that's kind of where I started. Where with science and spectacular failures, there are a lot of things that happen. And again, I'm going to lean back into that spiritual bypass, where when you're in the middle of the mess, it's hard for you to see the good that can come out of it. And I get that. And it's not helpful when people who love you say, well, look for the silver lining. Okay? Because you want to look for the silver lining. You really, really do. But you're in the middle of the mess. And so what I want to remind you is it's okay to puddle up, have a moment. You didn't get the job that you wanted, or you didn't get whatever it is that you are allowed to have the emotion. Go ahead and have that emotion. Feel it, and then pick yourself back up and move forward. And then, as she says in here, once enough time has passed, then you can look back at the mess, and then you can look for the good. You don't have to do it while you're in the middle of it. You are absolutely allowed to have all of the feelings and the emotions that you're due to, i.e. this woman not getting the job. I'm sure she went home and cried. I would. But then she picked herself back up. She recognized who she was, and she kept moving forward. She kept moving on. She continued to do the job that she already had. But she said, I am spirit. Spirit has something better in mind for me. And she kept working towards that. And that's the difference between a spiritual bypass and forward. She kept working forward towards it. It's like, yes, spirit has something better for me. What do I need to do to be in alignment with the good that I know is coming? The good that I know that I already have, but, is coming towards me. So she continued to work towards it. And that's where that secret is. So I'm going to reiterate the point. If you go back and look at science, there's no such thing as a failure. The only failure is when you fail to learn something. And she said it in there. There's a lesson to be learned. When we are in the middle of the chaotic, messy situations that we as humans can get into, then it's, as long as we're learning something, then it wasn't a waste. And that really is kind of my biggest lesson in life has been, there's gonna be messiness. It just is. As one of my classmates, Reverend Lane, would say, we have this big, messy, juicy life. And that's good. And we can't stuff it into these narrow channels of what, society and culture and religion and all of that are going to tell us. These narrow channels. It's going to be big. It's going to be messy. It's going to be juicy. And it's going to run all over the place. And there are going to be times that it's going to look like a failure. But as long as we've learned something from it and move forward and take those lessons with us, it wasn't a failure. It wasn't a failure. And sometimes what happens is when we hit that big, messy, juicy, what looks like a failure, we stop and we take stock of our lives and we choose a completely new direction. Sometimes it's a minor course correction. Sometimes it's a completely new direction. And that's the amazing thing that happens there. So, as long as we're learning something, we haven't failed. And we are spiritual beings having a human experience, which tells us from the get-go, it's going to be messy. But that's part of the fun. Now, not all mess is fun. And sometimes we just need to get through the mess as fast as possible. But sometimes in the middle of the mess, when we are learning new things about ourselves, stop and revel in it. Stop and revel in it. It's like go dance in the rainstorm. So, let me go back and grab that one line that she had, because I think that would make a great mission for the day. I think I need to clean my glasses. Yes. The truth is, there is no failure, only a lesson to learn. At first, we may disagree with this idea, but when enough time has passed, we will see beyond the appearance of failure and recognize the greater good has come to us, even though that good may be different than the one from our mental picture that should have been. That's that last point. Sometimes we need to let go of what we think should be to deal with what is. All right. Occasionally, we talk about looking facts in the face and seeing the truth behind them. Sometimes it's we need to turn that on its head. Sometimes we have to look at the situation that is in order to get out of it what it is that we want. We need to let go of what we thought we wanted, deal with what is, and it can take us amazing places that we never thought we'd go. We never thought we'd go. We can take that spectacular failure and get this major course correction and get so much further than we thought we ever thought we would, because we were willing to make the change. So that was that last point. So the mission today, should we choose to accept it, is to accept that there are no failures, that there are only lessons to be learned, and that it's all information. And what we do with the information is where the good comes from. All right, that's the mission today. It's kind of the same mission every day. I know the words are a little different, but it really does come back to knowing who you are. Knowing that you are a spiritual being having a human experience, that it's going to be juicy, that it's going to be messy, that it's going to look like all kinds of, and amazing things can happen in the midst of that. All right. That was one of my favorite talks that Lane gave while we were in school, was about, stop trying to stuff your messy, juicy life into those narrow channels and let the amazingness happen and learn from it. Okay. The other one is the same one I give you every day, which is to do something loving for yourself, do something kind for yourself, do something compassionate for yourself, whatever that looks like. I make no bones about the fact that it is absolutely self-care. It is. It is, because some of the suggestions are to take a nap, to take a walk, to take a break, to take a day off, to rest, to take a deep breath before you speak. It is absolutely about self-care. It is about creating a habit so that no matter what happens, your first response to you and to everybody else is loving, kind, and compassionate. Especially in what is starting to look a lot like a failure. If you can respond lovingly, kindly, and compassionately in a situation like that, one, you will get through it faster. Two, you will pick up those lessons sooner. Because compassion is like the greatest thing that you can have in what looks like a failure. When you are compassionate with yourself and the others in the situation, you can pick up the pieces a whole lot faster and move forward. So practice. It is absolutely self-care. And then the other part about it is to make room for joy. Love, kindness, and compassion absolutely makes room for joy. I talk about eating dessert first. And I do literally mean that. But it's also a metaphor for don't save the good stuff. Your life is a special occasion. Treat it like such. And I mean, when it looks like I'm in the middle of a mess and I am failing spectacularly, sometimes eating dessert first makes me feel better. And then I have the courage and the wherewithal to go pick up the pieces. Learn my lesson and move forward. So don't save the good stuff. All right? Make room for joy. Make room for joy. And create that habit. Create that default setting. Create that first response. When we are busy reacting to things we are not thinking, when we practice love, kindness, and compassion on ourselves every day, then what happens is we respond to things. We take that moment of consciousness and respond. And things go a whole lot better. So practice. Love, kindness, compassion on yourself every day. It is a spiritual practice and your life will work better. Absolutely. Okay. So I also encourage you to do something to engage your mind and your body. Even in the midst of, all of the weather, engage your mind and your body. Please drink plenty of water, especially with the heat running the way it has been for the last few days. We end up dehydrated without noticing it. Because, in hot weather, it's easy. You sweat. Make sure you're drinking plenty of fluid. Your brain works better when it's hydrated. And I do encourage you to get early in your day bright light. It's called a circadian rhythm. It's a hormone rhythm. And bright light early in your day will help to reset those hormones. You'll have more energy during the day. You'll sleep better at night. It's science. You can look it up. And in the words of Ernest Holmes, open the windows of your soul. Allow the breath of heaven to remind you do live in heaven right here, right now. It's all around us all the time. Because it's a state of mind. It's a state of consciousness. Once we learn that, once we learn to create that, Jesus said, the kingdom of heaven is within you. Once we learn to get there, then we learn that heaven ceases to be a place and can become any place. And if it can become any place, it can become every place. It absolutely is a superpower that each and every one of us are born with. It's called the Christ consciousness. That's what we call it. I'm sure every other faith tradition has another name for it, but we call it the Christ consciousness. We are born with it. And the password to activate that Christ consciousness is love. All right. Which looks like kindness, which looks like gratitude, which looks like joy, which looks like patience, which looks like understanding. It is just absolutely wondrous. So, practice. And you can always take Emma's advice. Look for the good and praise it. Look for the good and praise it. That is, I mean, you gonna get to heaven? That's the way to do it. Okay. I think we are at the social media part where I remind you we're Creative Life Spiritual Center, Creative Life Spark. If you want to know what's going on, and I am the running Rev Ryan on the social medias that I am on. Email info@creativelife.org. If you want to know what's going on with the center, that will get you on the Constant Contact. The Constant Contact will allow you, no, click here now. Try hot links. If it says click here now, it will take you either right to the information you want, or it will take you to the person that can help you get it. So please take advantage of all that. There's great stuff. And I think I'm at the have a great day, a wondrous day, a fantastic day, a magical day, an enchanted day, a wonder-filled day, a Friday, a Friday, an amazing day, a checking it out day, a getting stuff done day, a restful day, whatever kind of day you need to have, you want to have, a good day. And if that is too much pressure, simply have a day, because you are enough just as you are. You are a beloved child of God in whom God is well pleased, always and forever. It is a state of grace, and that is the really cool thing. You are a beloved child. You are a divine spark. You are a brilliant light. You are spirit in action. You are God in motion. You are godling, in whom God is well pleased, always and forever. State of grace. State of grace. I remind myself of that, especially when I'm in the midst of what looks like a spectacular failure. So, and that is one of the things that when life gets messy, remind yourself of grace. Remind yourself of grace. All right. Reverend David will be on around 5 p.m. with you. I will be back with you around 9 a.m. tomorrow. I do get to go to the park today, so I'm not around. Take care of yourself. Know that you are loved. And I will see you next time. Stay warm.